How are you? How are you? Let's go to work today. Today we're going to talk about, man, failures. And it's not just the big, everything's a failure and make it talk negative. I want to talk to you about how to make failures legitimately, tactically, structurally a positive for you. Like how do you take the things that have gone wrong or things that you were supposed to do and didn't do, like the lack of actions, which can be a failure. How do you take those and actually find the silver lining you hear so much about? How do you find the benefit from it? How do you find the perspectives that can actually push you into greater areas of your life from things that were not so great? And here's how it works. A lot of us have situations that take place or don't take place. And what happens is we put everything in this black and white, failure, not a failure bucket. Black and white, failure, not a failure. When really it's a scale. It's a point of not so great to life is great. And there's a lot of levels in between. And when you understand these levels, that's when things change. So here's how it works. Perspective is called reframing failure. And I want you to think about it like this. Everything that's happened in your life in the past that was a failure, didn't work so well, or you fell short of because you just knew you should have, but you didn't do it, and you feel bad about it. All those things are useful if you find out how to do this thing. You unpack the failures through 6 different levels. Now, each level is a little bit different. There are 3 that are more beneficial, 3 that are less beneficial. But here's how they work. Let's put it through a filter of, let's say, a relationship. We're going to use the 6 levels. I'm going to frame it up for relationships for you. Or we could do business. Maybe I'll just weave them all together. Business, relationship, who knows? And so what happens is this. At the top of a scale, imagine there's 6 levels to get to the very top. The very top is what's called abject failure. It's the end, no fixing, all is falling apart. It's like relationship fails, never going to be in a relationship again. Like that's abject. Or, the business doesn't do well. We got to close it down. That's an abject failure. Those are failures that, when you say abject, no coming back. That's what an abject failure is. Keep that in mind. That's important. The one below abject, one level down, is what's called structural. Now, structural failure means there's something that's part of this that is very important, that's been broken, that's not working anymore, but not the end. It's not completely unfixable. It just means that this level, this one piece, falling apart. For me and my relationship, my wife had an affair. It was a structural failure in the relationship. Very hard to come back from, but not impossible, right? For a lot of people, oh, it's impossible, never come back from it. It's possible, but it's very difficult. Then you have the next piece, which is a little below that, glorious failure, which essentially is you know what? This thing is going down. Let me go ahead and get a stogie or a cigarette, watch this thing burn. There's no coming back from it. And when you're in that place, it's very difficult to even think of all these 3, how to grab anything beneficial. How do I use anything from this glorious failure? You know what? Burn, going down. And I'm gonna tie it to business and relationship here in a moment. And then you have the structural, how do you learn from a structural failure? Something went wrong, that sucks, right? Or abject, end of the world, I don't even want to do anything. I don't have any hope of putting more work into a similar area and having success. Then you get to the bottom 3. And here's where the magic starts to come in and where the understanding is going to come in for you to grasp why the failures you have already experienced are not working out so great in your life and why you haven't found anything to come from the silver lining of them. Here's what it is. The next one down is what's called common failure. Now, common failure is essentially one that the apology was made for. I'm sorry. But what does sorry mean? Sorry means I'm not going to do that again. Now, we all have common failures in life. We get in a car accident. We nudge somebody. We forget the milk on the way home. I forget to give someone the refund because the system didn't do it. Or I forget to charge them and the check expired. Who knows what it is, right? It's a common failure. It's truly an apology. I'm sorry. It's off, right? A lot of people have these and they think it's the end. Oh, this is horrible. It's just a common failure. Things go wrong. That's life, right? Now, below that, we have what's called version failure, which is essentially you look at one version of something and realize, well, this one didn't go so well, but the next one can, in fact, be better. That's why you have the iPhones. It's some iPhone 11 now, right? They had iPhone 1, but we'd never get to iPhone 11 if we thought that iPhone 1 was never can be done. We're done making phones that didn't go as great as we wanted, right? We'll talk about what that means in a minute. We're almost there. And then the bottom one below that is what's called expected failure. We expect something to go wrong. We go into it trying to find the holes in the bucket. And what happens for a lot of us is we're not grasping and realizing that what's going on for a lot of us, we have these situations, these moments, these things we experience in life, and we're placing them in the wrong areas altogether. A situation happens and I shoot it up to abject immediately. For example, in a relationship, I might have this version failed, right? High school love, middle school love, college love, whatever it is, right? And the relationship falls apart. You're so invested in what do you think? You think it's an abject failure. No one's gonna love you again. Oh, no one's gonna love me. And I shoot it way up to abject. I'm unlovable. No one can be with me. You start self-sabotaging every relationship after that. Because in your head, it's like, I'm never supposed to be loved, never gonna be great again. This person walked out. And what happens is when you jump something to abject, you stop trying to learn from it. You say it's broken, never fixable. Can't pull anything from that. Whereas a version failure, you can say, well, that version was okay, right? It was the best I could do at that time. What do I gotta tweak and adjust? What kind of camera upgrades, software upgrades, identity do I gotta go through to make the next version better? And you can learn if you've placed it in a version failure box. If you push it in the wrong box, what ends up happening is you don't learn from it, right? Business-wise, maybe you have something that is, maybe it's a predicted failure, which means I opened business, I was trying a new idea. I was gonna put this new thing, I got things I make all the time. I got love capsules and GPS planners and weird programs I make. I put things out all the time, but I put them out with almost predicted failure because everybody who's a perfectionist hates that. They hate putting something out without it being perfect. But I know in my heart that I can't perfect anything without an outside mind, nor can you. So I'm putting it out there understanding that I'm predicting something to go wrong. And when I know it's gonna go wrong, I can fix it. But if I put something out there, all my heart and soul into it, and it goes wrong, and I put it in the abject bubble, like, see, I'm horrible at business, well, I learn nothing. I go into that pretty much waiting to fail, and I will never start back up, and I'll never get to the end destination I want. And if you have businesses or you're starting a network marketing organization or you're an entrepreneur in some way, no matter what it is, if you try something and you put something that's literally a version or a predicted failure up too high above that level of pretty much structural or being abject, well, what ends up happening is you think that there's no way to come back from it. So you don't learn anything, you don't reapply yourself, and you pretty much just slowly fade out into the background. That's a bad feeling. Like, think about if you ever had that happen. I'm sure it's happened to you. You ever had it happen where like, this sucks, didn't feel good. I'm gonna go ahead and just never do that again. And that's what happens for a lot of us. So what I want you to take from this to tweak a little bit is a realization that in relationships, they're typically a version. And it can be the same relationship. That version of who you were in the relationship can be leveled up. Who do I need to be? What am I doing wrong? Maybe I should stop going out and partying and drinking and craziness. Maybe this person needs more affection, more love, more care, more of my kind words, more actions to show how I feel, right? Maybe that's what I got to let them do. And I got to do it myself. And I got to ratchet in and version up, right? Go to the next level. It's fine. But if you're like, oh, this is who I am, never get any better, that is an abject failure. You have failed yourself. You have failed the relationship, right? It's not a good place to be in. Or if it's like business, then maybe you make a mistake in business. Just because you made a mistake and missed an order, or you didn't get somebody, the thing they needed, or you didn't show up and missed a meeting, like common failure, I apologize. I'm not going to accidentally miss a meeting because I didn't put it in my calendar and then think, oh, I can't ever be a coach and speak anymore. I'm horrible. Like, it doesn't go that high. But unfortunately, we sometimes do that. And if you find yourself in that space doing that, I need you to check yourself. You need you to check yourself. The world needs you to check yourself, because a lot of the things you've experienced are not as high of a problem as you think they are. You've placed them far too high, and because you've placed them far too high, you've allowed yourself to go really, really low. You've minimized your capabilities of playing at such a high level and doing so many more things in your life. So I want you to go back through your life and take a look at what are the experiences that you have created, crafted, done. What have you done in your life that for you is an action or inaction that made you feel bad about yourself, that made you feel like you failed something or failed overall. And I want you to reframe those. Reframe that failure. Yes, maybe the relationship broke. Maybe the business didn't do very well. Maybe you haven't been able to stay on a diet and be able to lose the weight you want. That's totally cool. Which part of those areas from a version standpoint, predictable standpoint, or just common failure standpoint, can you step back and say, you know what? I can be better because I learned this, this, and this. Let me get back on a horse. Let me go right out. You do that, and I promise you'll change your life. Because the whole point of what I do is teach you how to elevate how you operate to level up your life and business. So go do that. Reframe your failures. Create something amazing.